So this was such an interesting book. I see a lot of advertisements for love potions or love spells or love amulets. I think there's a limit to what good grades, a good job, secular thriving can do for you. Today we are eating Ayam Penyet. Hi friends, welcome to Makan and Meaning, where I endeavour to provide thoughtful, kind and nuanced book reflections. Today we'll be talking about The Shaman Circle by S.W. Jaafar. So this was such an interesting book. I really enjoyed it. When I picked it up at Kinokuniya, I thought at first it was about a Malaysian bomo. Then when I read the story, I realised it was about an Indonesian bomo, but it was a Malaysian woman who went to consult her when she made a business trip to Indonesia. Yeah, so I think when I picked this up, I wasn't aware about the Shaman Circle that was being referred to. So it's a book of fiction. The circle refers to in the late 18th century. So once in every 150 years, I think, a bunch of shamans from around the region in Asia. So I guess the most powerful one was from Indonesia. The next one from Malaysia, Philippines, Hong Kong, and I think Laos. So they gather as shamans in a circle, and then they make a pact with the jinn. So yeah, I think what was very interesting was how I remember a friend, a Malay Muslim friend in Singapore, told me that their ancestors were originally animists before the sultans converted to Islam when the missionaries came. And another friend told me that after that, the Bomos, they combine both their animist magic and the Quran together. So they modified their practices. And yeah, and now I think the more religious Muslims, they actually don't consult Bomos. They do Ruqya, which is a form of Islamic healing. I was a bit surprised to hear about, I mean, of course it's fiction, but I think there are elements of truth in it. There was a haunted house in Hong Kong, and when the shaman in Hong Kong made offerings, the ghosts stopped making noise. But yeah, the offerings were like sort of traditional Chinese cultural Taoist form of offerings. But I guess even before Taoism existed, the Chinese had sort of animist beliefs, and I think even now the Chinese cultural beliefs still permeate the region. Like, I think during the Hungry Ghost Month, when you burn paper offerings, that is neither, like, strictly speaking, Buddhist or Taoist. It's actually a Chinese cultural phenomenon. So that's interesting. And I think what was also interesting was how in the book, like, the ghost is sort of tied to the land or the house. Like, I think when the shamans died, his ghost was sort of tied to his house, if I'm not mistaken, in Malaysia. I think it was in Johor. And yeah, that reminded me of recently a friend told me he's a business owner, so one of the shop houses he used to rent in the past, it used to be a Japanese brothel in World War II, and I think there are still spirits who inhabit the space even today. So yeah, I think it's interesting how spirits are kind of tied to the place they lived in. And I really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the plot and how people really will do things when they're desperate. So one of the main characters, Julia, she really wanted a baby because she had a miscarriage. So she bargained with the shaman for one, and there were unintended consequences. But yeah, I think even till today, like on my Carousell when I'm trying to buy books, I see a lot of advertisements for love potions or love spells or love amulets, which I don't buy, but I'm just surprised that it's so popular, because where there is supply, I'm sure there is demand. And yeah, I think it's interesting that in a cosmopolitan city like Singapore, I think sometimes there are limits to what the material world or rational world can bring you, so people turn to the supernatural and the spiritual. And that's interesting, because apart from the love spells advertised on Carousell when I'm trying to buy books, there are also people selling crystals, tarot cards, and in the recent 3 to 5 years there's been an upsurge in such services. Like there are a lot of tarot card readers on Carousell. And yeah, I think a lot of younger people are getting into it, or even millennials like myself. So I think that's an interesting phenomenon to observe in cosmopolitan Singapore. And it shows you, like there is a hunger, a spiritual hunger in people, that whether it is materialism, like money, your regular job cannot get you, or even religion can't satisfy the need for something deeper, something more visceral even. Yeah, and I think when the exoteric and the esoteric used to be intertwined in religion, whether in Islam, Buddhism, or Christianity, and when they were separated, and now institutionalized religion in Singapore is largely exoteric. I guess even within the congregations, regardless of religion, people are still seeking the esoteric, and I guess now they seek it elsewhere, like in tarot readers, and other, I guess, modern shamans in a sense. Yeah, so I think that's an interesting observation, because there's a proliferation of such services in Singapore, and I do believe that some people's powers are legitimate and genuine, and some aren't. So it's good to be discerning. But regardless, I think it's interesting to see this phenomenon here, and I'm glad to be in a country and in a region where there's so much diversity in beliefs, and we can learn from one another. And the last thing I would say, that in this book, it really showed me how there were similarities across countries. Like I guess in the past, in the Nusantara, people traveled, and I guess that's why the ghosts are similar. Like the Pontianak, similar versions can be found not just in Singapore and Malaysia, but in Indonesia and Philippines, right? And Thailand, but they're called different names. Yeah, and I think that it's interesting that before whatever religion dominates a particular country, there were always animist beliefs first. Like I was reading a book in the National Library called, I think, Monks and Magic. Before there was Buddhism in Thailand, there were animist beliefs. So when Buddhism came in, it sort of interweaved with the animist beliefs, and there was Thai Buddhist magic. But like when I went for a retreat in Chiang Mai, Thailand, a local monk said, that's not Buddhism. But yeah, but Buddhist monks who practice magic still exist in Singapore. It's quite popular. I think in Fulu Show there is a thriving sales in different shops selling Thai magic amulets blessed by monks in Thailand. So yeah, I think it's an interesting time we live in, and I think in the years ahead, I think it will get more and more popular. I think because I think there's a limit to what good grades, a good job, secular thriving can do for you as a person. I think people have a deep desire for something deeper, and yeah, I guess that's what stuff like this offers, right? So yeah, so those are just some thoughts. It's a short video today, and if you'd like to support Makan and Meaning, you can drop a comment or a tip in my Ko-fi. That's ko-fi/Makan and Meaning, or you can buy me a book. The link is in the bio. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!